thanks for stopping by the channel and checking out the video. Just got my new FoxAlien 80-watt laser with a 20-watt output. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the box, see how it looks, and I'll also get it installed on my Reizer machine, and we'll do some test cuts. So let's see here. As you can see, I do have standard packaging for laser CNC machines. The instruction manual here, and I think it does has some pretty good instructions in here for each one of the different machines for the Reizer, Matsuda Pro, the 4040, and the Vasto. So I just have the Reizer, so I'll follow those instructions there. And as normal, it's packaged pretty well. See here, we got looks like the separate power supply, since that's controlled by a separate power supply and not the circuit board power supply for the machine. And it looks like the power cords and little circuit board here, and just the screws. Looks like the installation screws. Looks like spare screws. It's good that they give you some in case you're missing any. And this here looks like the air assist package. And a little laser shield. Some Allen wrenches as normal. And an aluminum bracket. And an acrylic bracket. And last is the laser itself. As you can see, it's pretty big compared to the one that's already on the machine. It feels pretty heavy too, so hopefully it'll do all right on the machine and won't sag or anything like that. So again, looks like a pretty big beefy upgrade to the current 5.5 watt laser. So I'll go ahead and pull my machine out of the enclosure and bring it over here and get it installed. Okay, so I'm getting ready to install the new 80 watt laser on my Reizer. I have it here sitting on the bench, and the first thing I need to do is to remove the old laser, which just has 4 screws here, 2 on each side, and then over here also there's 2, so I'll go ahead and take these off. Just these tiny little screws there. So go ahead and get the ones on this side. So there, have the old laser off. I'll set that off to the side along with the 4 little screws. And then the next thing we need to do is to remove this acrylic plate right here. So go ahead and pull that off so we can put this new acrylic plate right here on. So go ahead and peel off the paper backing a while. Now as you'll see here, this has on one side has some countersinks on it, and that's the side that you're going to put facing out towards you, so that way when you mount it in there, the screws do not affect the mounting of the laser. So I'll go ahead and first I'll get the mounting plate, the old mounting plate off. Pull that off. We don't need that anymore. Now the new plate is going to get these M5 by 12 screws, and again, like I said, they'll go into the countersinks there so that it doesn't stick out. As you can see, so just again make sure that they stick out this way. So go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and mount these in the plate a while, so it just makes it a little easier to hold it up there, so I'm not holding the screw and the plate at the same time. Now these holes are a little tight, so just got to make sure that your screw's going in there straight, so that way it doesn't go into the mounting bracket or the Z-axis crooked. And that just snaps on there. Nope, that didn't quite work. That just pushed out the bracket away from the Z-axis. Let me try that again, just to make sure I put some pressure on here so it doesn't, when you put the screws in, that it doesn't push the plate away from the Z-axis carriage here, which just might anyway. These holes are a little small for these screws. Okay, so I just made a little mistake there. Had the wrong screws in there initially, or I said the wrong screws. These are supposed to be the M4, not the M5 screws. So that will just go right on there. And again, I mentioned the wrong screws. They're the M4s, not the M5s. The M5s will be definitely too big for the holes here. Okay. Now the next step is we're going to put the okay, so I went ahead and mounted the bracket on here. I was just having some problems with the screws, but I went ahead and got that mounted on a while. And then also I did go out of sequence from the manual here. The first part of the manual has you install the acrylic shield and the air assist nozzle and the bracket onto the laser, but I went ahead and skipped ahead just to put that on a while. Since I was already there taking the old one off, I just put the new one on. So again, basically then we're going to start here. You need the the nozzle adapter, the air assist nozzle, and the acrylic shield, which you have here. So you have these three parts here: the nozzle adapter, the air assist nozzle, and the shield. And then as you see, there's a hole right here, which this tube here will stick out of. And then you screw the nozzle adapter right onto there. So go ahead and do that. And just kind of put that in here. And basically you're going to want your air assist nozzle, the bottom of it, to be flush with this acrylic right here. So the next step, we're going to go ahead and install this onto the bottom of the laser module. So go ahead and do that. And as you see, there are four holes here in the nozzle, or in the laser module. And just to make sure you take off this little piece of film that's covering the, the laser eye there. And then basically you're going to turn this sideways here so that this this piece is facing to the right. And then this will sit right on top of it, just like this, just in that orientation right there. So you just go ahead and push that right down on there, and you just want to make sure that the acrylic sits on either side of the air assist nozzle, and that the nozzle is not sitting on top of the acrylic, or it's going to make it difficult to get the screw holes in there. Now you also want to be careful putting your screws that you don't drop any screws into here, because then you'll have to take everything back apart. So for starters, I'm going to turn this sideways and get the screw hole lined up, and then just put the screw on the end of the Allen wrench and right into the hole there, just to make sure I'm not trying to put the screw in there with my fingers and drop it into the hole. So just like that. So I'm not gonna tighten these down to start. I'm gonna get all four screws in there just to make sure, in case I need to just do any minor alignment or adjustment to it. Again, don't want to drop the screw in there. So two back screws are going to be the most difficult to get in there because it's in the corner. I'll just get all 4 in to start. And that one was a little loose, so the screw threads might not be perfect. Okay, so I got that one pretty well tight. So just go ahead and tighten the rest since it seems like it's lined up pretty well. Okay, so I have to have them on there. Now, as you'll notice here, this also, the air assist nozzle, I don't know if that's just the design of it, but you can see it's not quite straight. It doesn't come out straight to the side, even though this plastic shield is not down here the whole way, because if you slid this down so it meets the curve of the air assist nozzle, it would be straight. But then the holes won't line up and it won't be flush with the outside of the body of the laser module. So I don't know if that's just a design thing that they didn't look at quite enough, but I mean, it should function just the same. It just doesn't look as good that it's not quite straight or perpendicular or whatever when you look at it from the bottom there. All right, so the next step, I'm just going to lay this down here in this orientation right here. And we're going to put the bracket on here to the back of the laser module with the M310 screws right here. So this will just fit right over here. And again, just make sure that the countersinks are facing up. And go ahead and screw that in. Okay, and again, now that we already have, or that I already have the acrylic bracket mounted on there, just went out of sequence a little bit. So then the next step is going to be to install the laser module onto the new acrylic panel with the M512 flathead screws, which I have right here. These here, so we'll go ahead and mount that on here just like that. Just going to go ahead and hold this up. Hopefully you can see. Good. Two on this side. Go ahead and loosen this up a little bit just to make sure that all the holes line up perfectly and the screws don't go in sideways and strip out the openings. Tight. Okay. Alright, so now the next step, we're going to plug the laser wire into the module here. Set the, undo the air hose. Alright, so you're going to take your existing 4-pin laser module, or laser wire, oh no, got that wrong. Sorry. You're not going to use the existing one. You're going to use the new one, which is your new module here, your new cable. Go ahead and pull this one off. And that just slides right into this little pin right here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pause here for a moment. I'm going to reroute this new wire through the drag chain here over the machine. And then I'll go ahead and continue from there. Okay, so I have my air assist nozzle and the laser power cord all into the drag chain here, so it took me a few minutes just to get all that set up. So I have that rerun. Now the next step here is you're going to connect the laser to the actual control board. So basically your parts you're going to need is this little 2 and 3 pin adapter wire, your 3-pin laser power supply, and this little adapter board. So your laser power wire is going to go into this spot here, and there's only one space that it can go in. So just go ahead and push that in until it clicks. So I'm going to take this off of here. And your 2-pin wire here goes into this spot. And then this here is going to go into your laser power spot on the control board of the main machine. So you just go ahead and push that in there. And now I think we're pretty much all set. Now obviously your power supply cable is going to go into the little outlet right here. So this will go in here to power everything, because it does have a separate power block here. And then the power cord will plug in just into the back right here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it again, and I'm going to get everything set up back in the enclosure. And I think that's pretty much it for the instructions. So I'll go ahead and get everything reset up. I'll probably have to reroute so a couple wires, or figure out what to do here with this thing right here, because this is going to be hanging down and it's going to be moving with the machine as it goes back and forth. I'm not sure how I have this hanging down, so I don't know if there's any other way that I'm going to be able to do this, since this wire is so short. Connecting it here, I don't have too many options as far as attaching it anywhere else, either on the side of the board here or anything else. So I'll go ahead and pause the video, get it set up back in the enclosure, and we'll try and test it out. Okay, just a couple more things before I get around to testing the new laser. I went and put the laser into the enclosure and ran into a couple of issues that I didn't see beforehand, so I pulled the laser back out and I got it on the workbench here. So I just wanted to make you aware of a couple things. And the first thing is here, this little mini adapter board here, you want to make sure that this is kind of hanging up. You just pull the excess of this power cord through the drag chain and just coil it up here on the top, because otherwise this is going to hang way down here and it's going to snag on a bunch of different things or anything, especially if you're running an enclosure or just have other things laying on the workbench here. This is going to snag. So pull this up through the drag chain and then just kind of coil it up and tie it in place there. And then another thing is here with this, the new laser module being so big, you're going to need to move your limit switches here. You're going to lose about 1 inch of workable area here on the X and the Y axis, and also the Z axis up and down, because it is such a big module compared to the old one. Now this pertains to the Reizer. I'm not sure how it would pertain to the Vasto or one of the CNC machines that you may mount this on. So basically what I had to do is I had to move the limit switch back about 1 inch, because it used to be over here, right around these screws right here. So then I had to move it outward 1 inch, because this, when I homed the machine, the front of the laser module here would hit this rail. And also you can see this little air nozzle adapter here, or the air assist nozzle adapter here. This would hit the inside of this rail right here. So you're also going to have to move your limit switch over here. You're going to have to move that in about 1 inch or so, just so that way when you home the machine, your limit switches are going to work and it'll home properly and it won't crash into the side rails or the front rail of the machine. So just wanted to make you aware of those. And also, like I said, you're also going to lose about 1 inch of the Z-axis workable area. So I would recommend having some feet that you can, like these adjustable feet here that you can order on FoxAlien's website or through Etsy, or some other feet to raise it up off of the surface of your workbench. Because with the stock feet that come with the Reizer, you're not going to have any room to put material underneath the laser here, since this is so big and hangs down farther than the stock laser head. So again, just wanted to make you aware of any of those issues, just so that way you don't run into the same problem that I went and mounted it into the laser box or laser enclosure and then tried to run it and just ran into a couple problems. So I pulled it back out and you know, just tried to adjust things so that way it would work properly. And just another thing to be aware of here, the new laser head here, it weighs about 1.5 pounds. Now the old laser module weighed about a half a pound. So as you can see here, if I just lift this up and then let it come down, it's not quite perpendicular here. The Z carriage, it's so heavy that it's angling the carriage backwards. Now I don't know if that may have some sort of repercussions later on with the bottom wheels, because the bottom wheels here, the V wheels here on the bottom, are hitting this little channel on the underside here of this rail. So I don't know if that's going to be a problem, but as you can see, this is a pretty heavy laser head. So far it doesn't seem to have any affect any issues of the movement of it, but we'll see how it goes and see if it makes any unusual wear and tear on the Z-axis carriage there. So other than that, I'll go ahead and put this back in the enclosure and we'll test it out. Okay, so I have some test cuts here set up on some 1/4-inch poplar, and have 5 1¼ inch circles here, and as you can see, I have some different cut settings here at 10 inches per minute, 50% power, 10 inches per minute, 60% power, 15 at 75% power, 20 at 85% power, and 30 at 100% power. And these are all at one pass. So I'll go ahead and set up the camera inside the box and we'll see how it goes. Okay, done with the test cuts here. The far left was 10 inches per minute at 50% power, 10 inches per minute at 60%, 15 at 75, 20 inches per minute at 85% power, and 30 inches per minute at 100% power. So go ahead and see how these are going to look. And as you can see there, a couple of them look like they might have started to cut through almost. This was the 10 inches at 50%, 10 inches at 60%, and 15 inches here. You can see just a little bit at 75% power. So obviously I'm going to have to increase the power and decrease the speed in order for it to cut through in one pass. So not much different than the 5.5 watt where you had to slow it down to 5 or 7 inches per minute at 100% power. So I don't know if I'm doing anything wrong here, but we'll give it one more try and see how it goes. Okay, so I did 5 more test cuts here. The one on the left here was 5 inches per minute at 75 power, 7 inches per minute at 85% power, and 10 inches per minute at 100% power. And those 3 all look like they cut through in one pass. And then here we have 15 inches per minute at 100 and 20 inches per minute at 100% power. But obviously those 2 did not cut through completely. The 15 inches per minute at 100% power cut about halfway through around the circle, not quite, and the 20 inches per minute did not make it through. So obviously if you want to cut anything in one pass, you're going to have to slow it down considerably and increase the power. Now FoxAlien on their website claims it can cut 10 millimeter hardwood in one pass. I don't know what speeds or power settings they're using, but again, this is just 1/4 inch poplar, and you know, I had to slow it down quite similar to the 5.5 watt, where I was doing anywhere between 5 and 7 inches per minute at 100% power. So again, to maybe see and look into what their settings were for cutting in one pass at 10 millimeter hardwood. So see how it goes, but there you have it so far. And I'll keep playing around with it and see what I can do with it and see how it works out, and go from there. Thanks for watching. Okay, so just some final thoughts on the installation of my new FoxAlien 80 watt laser module with a 20 watt output. Obviously it's a lot bigger module, a lot more powerful, a lot louder, a lot heavier, and generates a lot more smoke. So just some things to take into consideration if you're going to put it on a Reizer machine like I did. And also what you would want to consider is getting a more powerful air pump than the standard FoxAlien air assist pump. I don't think that's going to be producing enough air to give you nice clean cuts. And again, and also make sure you have a good exhaust system, because it will generate 2 or 3 times as much more smoke than the 5.5 watt. I noticed that I have 2 inline exhaust fans here, and that didn't seem like that was quite enough to keep the smoke coming from outside of the enclosure. So just something else to consider there. And then you know, this, as far as the price point on this one, I'm not sure, you know, that it would be worth it, considering that you know, you can get a 40 watt CO2 laser for about the same price as this. About $500–600 you can get the 40 watt laser CO2. So again, just something to consider. It's not necessarily a full review of it. And also take into consideration some of the things earlier that I mentioned, as far as losing some work area on the X, Y, and Z axis. Just because this one is so much bigger, and that you would have to adjust your limit switches over here on the left hand side, and just some small minor things like that. So I'll keep using this for a while and see how it goes, and I'll keep you updated. Thanks for watching.